Horror and thriller are honestly some of my favorite genres. I watch these movies just for fun, and also मुझे डराना भी काफ़ी easy है, which is why I'm also the perfect audience for this kind of film. So when I watched the trailer for this film, I was both excited and a little nervous about whether they'll be able to pull it off or not. Hi, I'm Pratiksha Mishra and you're listening to my review of Shaitaan. शैतान इज अ रीमेक ऑफ द फिल्म वश। वश सुन के ही आपको थोड़ा सा आइडिया लग जाएगा कि इस फिल्म में क्या होने वाला है। इन दिस फिल्म वी सी अ फैमिली ऑफ 4, माता पिता, एक बेटी और एक बेटा। ये चारों पूरे मौज में कहीं जा रहे हैं, छुट्टियां मना रहे हैं। दे आर वेरी हैप्पी, एवरीवन लव्स ईच अदर, जस्ट द परफेक्ट हैप्पी हम साथ साथ हैं टाइप फैमिली। एंड एज इट हैपन्स इन बॉलीवुड फिल्म, जितनी खुश फैमिली है उतना ही खराब कुछ उनके साथ होने वाला है, एंड इट डज। इन अ रोड साइड ढाबा दे मीट अ स्ट्रेंजर, and for some reason the daughter Janvi eats a laddu that the stranger gives her. पहली बात तो stranger danger. Do not eat things that strangers give you. This is something that the parents should have avoided in the first place only, but then बाकी की movie नहीं बनती. Anyway, what this laddu does, they later realize, is that gives complete control of Janvi to the stranger. Ajay Devgan plays the dad in this film, और ये ऐसा रोल है जो हमने उन्हें पहले भी करते हुए देखा है, especially in his recent films, including the Drishyam films and in Bhola. This one man who is against an unstoppable force just to protect his family. The daughter Janvi is played by Janki Bodiwala, who also played this role in Vash and is honestly one of the best performances in this film. एक horror genre में there are a lot of ways to make scares happen. The most commonly used are either jump scares or just deeply unsettling your audience. शैतान में दोनों होता है भरपूर. The background music is at all times explaining to you that the man in the room is big, bad and evil. Honestly, I thought that this would get too much for me. I thought that it would be too hammy, but it's surprisingly not. I don't know if it's the camera work that complements the music too well, or if R. Madhavan's performance is so great that despite the very heavy background score, you still kind of stay invested in the story. Either way, here, the background score, which would have normally seemed very hammy, does not for the most part. R. Madhavan as the stranger Vanraj in this film is a scene stealer. He is terrifying. उनको देख के starting से ही डर लगता है. The entire time I was like, how could you trust this person? Okay, fine. Be nice to strangers, love your neighbor, fair enough. But why? Why would you look at this character and say, yes, this is someone we should trust? Even if you trusted him in the beginning, to keep trusting him constantly, truly terrifying. This is what happens when people don't watch a lot of horror and thriller movies and have no survival instincts whatsoever. But okay, I digress. Let's come back to the film. The storyline, if you will, वो बहुत ही simple है. It's that ठीक है, अब जानवी इस इंसान के वश में है, and he is someone who is willing to push everyone's limits. He does not care what happens. His only motive is कि वो जानवी को अपने साथ लेके जाएगा. The most unsettling factor, I think, of this film is just the setting. It is the idea that this adult man has control over this young woman and essentially wants to take her with him. It's a terrifying premise. It's absolutely scary just to be sitting in the audience and seeing everything unfold, in the sense that you're seeing this person absolutely humiliate the people under his control and their family members. थोड़ी देर तक you could have still be like, fine, maybe it's part of the genre. But the issue with the film is कि it's like a first date. It's like a first date that is going pretty well. You're very interested. आपने अपने दोस्तों को बता दिया है कि मुझे 1 घंटे में इमरजेंसी में कॉल मत करना, because this is going fine. But suddenly, as it does with a lot of first dates, everything just goes to hell. Till the interval, सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है. You're willing to suspend a lot of disbelief. You're willing to be invested in the film also. You're engaged even. But towards the end, towards the climax, everything just becomes completely silly. You start wondering कि जब solution इतना obvious है and it does become obvious to you, why isn't anyone doing it? If these people are willing to jump off balconies, hang off their house, just sacrifice everything for the sake of their daughter, why aren't they doing the very simple solution which would have solved all of this? इस genre में ठीक है, sometimes plot holes are there, sometimes loopholes are bound to happen and you can let it go if the film is great. But यहाँ पे once the film starts to kind of lull, all of these problems become very, very apparent. There were so many times in the film where I was like, okay, something very genuinely smart is going to happen. There's going to be a twist and turn that you don't see coming. There's going to be something about one character that you don't expect and it's going to change the film completely. The only thing that changes is the tone. And in a way that just makes the film a middling experience. At some point it just starts seeming dull. Silly is a nice way of putting it. Towards the end I was sitting there and I was like, huh? And there's a sequence in the end where there are randomly people who are portrayed the same way that Bollywood has often portrayed trans women, and they are absolutely violent people in this film. That again just gets into that very harmful stereotype of trans people being violent and harmful, and for no reason. इस film में कोई ज़रूरत नहीं थी वो करने की. It's just there because I guess there was just a lack of thinking sensitively. Other than the actor who plays Janvi, the one performance that kept everything afloat was Jyotika. Jyotika plays Janvi's mother and is honestly one of the more fierce performances in this film. एक action sequence है film में जहाँ पे वो पूरी तरह से बस गुस्सा and just frustration, she can just express all of it, and is honestly one of my favorite sequences from this film. The camera work in Shaitaan is pretty impressive, और I think camera work ही वो एक technical चीज़ है जिसकी वजह से film का tension भी काफ़ी हद तक बरकरार रहता है. जैसे कि एक scene में जो उनका छोटा बेटा है ध्रुव, he's running from something. The way the camera captures all the movement is pretty well done. Even in the scenes where we're kind of beginning to guess that something is wrong with Janvi or that something has happened that has made her a different person, the way that those are shot is very, very good. There's also another sequence where there's a swinging thing that's going on. The way the camera shoots that sequence was honestly one of my favorite bits in this film. शैतान का प्रॉब्लम वही है कि दिस इज अ फिल्म दैट कुड हैव गॉन राइट इन सो मेनी वेज, बट इट कीप्स टेकिंग द रॉन्ग टर्न अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन, एंड फॉर दैट रीजन माई रेटिंग फॉर शैतान इज 2.5 stars out of 5.